Legacy Wave 3 has finally started trickling in around where I live, and while my Menassor's arm is still desperate for Dead End to complete it, and I'm at the edge of my seat waiting for that new Armada Starscream to come around, I did manage to land a sweet little core class finding in the topic of today's video, Legacy Bombburst. Bombburst. Now that's a name I never understood. It never really did seem like a fitting name to me for this guy. It's such a weird American localization name. I greatly prefer how in Japan, this dude's name was just Blood. He came from the Transformers Master Force series, and was one of 3 Pretender bots who showed up in that series. And to understand what that name means, let's take a quick look at his G1 Pretender toy. G1 Bombburst was a vague, wedge-shaped aircraft thing that unfolded into a weird, spingly robot with railgun arms. And then whenever you deemed it acceptable, you could smush him into the back of this big hollow shell that's sculpted to look like a big, ugly, bipedal, armored bat creature with a wrench. Now, the fact that G1 Bombburst's toy consists of 2 fully designed characters means that modernizing this guy is a little bit tricky. You make a new version of this guy, what do you make him look like? You know, you got the inner robot design and the full outer shell. Well, the 2022 Legacy bot hits a real sweet spot. First off, the robot mode decides to take inspiration from that big, ugly, bipedal, armored bat creature with a wrench. I've really been digging the recent small-scale bots that have been showing up in the Generations lines, and Bombburst is no exception. He's pretty much entirely ball joints, so his articulation is pretty fluid. The feet got a weird amount of attention though. The transformation joints give it this great front and back range, and they even managed to include dedicated ankle tilts. Hopefully my gigantic thumb in this shot is driving home how much articulation is impressively crammed into a very, very tiny foot. The whole thing has a real great range of movement, and the result is that this Batbot can really strike a pose or two. I would have loved to see that head have some up and down movement though. The swivel here feels extra inhibiting considering the rest of this guy is so well articulated. The arm wing cannons can be remounted onto Blood's back if you pull it out a bit. Neat. But if you want the backpack to still be snug against his back, due to the lack of clearance between the wing and the mounting area, the result is that the wings are at a really weird, not flat 45-degree angle. Now look, that's something that I can deal with, but what I can't deal with is, okay, somebody decided to give the backside of his wings some real sweet bat detailing, and then proceeded to make it impossible to mount them onto his back. Like wings. I really wish they considered that a bit more. This dude is begging for a big pair of glidey wings. Okay, back to the positives though. I do really dig his bat head. An Instagram Q&A said that it was designed in 2 parts specifically so they could get that red paint app onto his tongue. And while I think that's really considered, I'm not sure why then, if his head was already in 2 parts, why didn't you give him an articulated mouth joint? Okay, but honestly, asking for a mouth joint and proper wings at this point is just being ungrateful. Bombburst's bot mode rocks. And hey, who even needs proper wings when these accessories can be both arm-mounted cannons and gigantic hatchets? Transformation has me stumped, because I take him, and then I borderline one-step him by folding him in half, and now all of the sudden I'm holding a jet. All of the reds and whites that form the majority of the robot mode have almost entirely disappeared into this blue and gray jet wedge thing. Even underneath it, it's mostly just gray, and hey, that is for sure not the worst underkibble I've ever seen on a jet former. Oh, also underneath, he's just right there, isn't he? The alt mode takes all of its inspiration from Bombburst's inner robot vehicle mode design. It gets one up on that design already by picking out the turbines with gray paint. The only other paint app on this mode is the windshield. I really like this deep wine red that they used for it and the robot mode chest. It catches light really nicely. The jet mode is simple and effective. And look, you can even mush his wrench hatchet thing under the cockpit to be a little machine gun. Lovely. Now, Mr. Generation's Legacy Bombburst here doesn't have anything in the way of features or gimmicks, and I think that's kinda since the feature on this guy is how articulated and engineered he is. Now, unfortunately, that means I've got pretty much nothing else to say about him. You know, he's a great homage to both inner robot and shell aspects of his G1 design, and the joint tolerances are great, articulation's great, and it all comes together to deliver on a worth your time pocket money robot. Happy Halloween, everybody!